First off, thank you everybody for tuning back in. A whole bunch of stuff has happened, I guess, since I have was last live, left and talked to our bro, and then came back. All kind of stuff. So on the drive back, I started looking stuff up that I was talking to him about. Thank God I got Hawk and John and Blake and Sunni to come on, and all of them you already know are very educated. Well, you guys don't know too much about Hawk yet or John, but you're going to today. Both of these guys are patriots that know a ton of information. They've lived a life far more amazing than mine thus far. They're older than me, but these guys are somebody that you need to know and need to listen to, and I'm going to try to have them on more. But right now, first, I want to bring Blake up because there is something that has just developed that is going crazy around the country. Blake, talk to him real quick, man.
So within the last hour, there's active shooters across the country. There's 6 shot in Lynn, Massachusetts, and 2 are in critical condition. There's also an active shooter in Rockford, Illinois, with multiple down, mass casualty incident declared. This was in the last hour, and that's just the 2 reporting. There's a possibility of another one in Maine.
See, that is crazy to me because I just seen somebody post on Facebook either today or yesterday, can't remember, but they said, how many mass shootings has there been underneath President Trump compared to Obama? And now for this to just start taking place and happening right now is blowing my mind. All right. We're going to keep covering that. As soon as we get more information about what's going on, we will be bringing that to you guys. But right now, we're going to keep moving along about all this. This shit is crazy what's going on in our country right now. But I got to bring up these guests right now. First, I'm going to introduce the amazingly beautiful, wonderful Sunni, the middle child.
What's up, guys?
Then I got to bring up my man, Casey. Then I got to bring up my man, John. And then we got to bring up my man, Hawk. All right. This guest panel that we have today. All right. Everybody here is intelligent, cares about this country, wants to see the best for our country. Right now, I need you guys to please share this video out if you have not done so already. If you're watching via Facebook, please switch over to the YouTube. Cash Kelly, the Street Light. Go there, subscribe, like the video, share the video, because some of this information might get this video taken down on Facebook. Also, yeah, the last video that I did, I'm pretty sure is going to get taken down, depending on, you know, how much they watch and listen. But yeah, there's going to be a ton of information shared in this video right now, and you guys are not going to want to miss this, okay? So without further ado, I'm going to take it over to my man, Hawk. Hawk, talk to him, man.
All right. So looking at multiple views of videos that I've got to see over the last day, what I have discovered is that, number one, the RV never blew up. It's that simple. The RV never, ever blew up. You know, it appears that the countdown, and this is some interesting information that I ended up locating while in the midst of all of this. You know, a direct energy weapon is a ranged weapon that damages its target with highly focused energy, including laser, microwaves, and particle beams. Potential applications for this technology include weapons that target personnel, missiles, vehicles, optical devices, and buildings. In the United States, the Pentagon, DARPA, and the Air Force Research Laboratory, United States Army Armament Research Development and Energy Center, and the Naval Research Laboratory are researching direct energy weapons and railguns to counter ballistic missiles, hypersonic cruise missiles, hypersonic glide vehicles. These systems of missile defense are expected to come online no sooner than the mid to late 2020s. Well, the thing that people need to know is that they're already out there. They are already in the sky. They are already active. The fires that we had out here in Oregon and California, there's been some pretty definitive proof that a lot of those fires were actually started by these direct energy weapons. They're called the DO systems. You know, and you know, what I found was, and this was really cool. What I found was in this process, I found Blake's video showing what was going on with, you know, these.
Thermal.
Yeah. So now that is one video there. I actually have a video here on my screen as well of the street view of that explosion happening. And we've actually circled it. We've circled where the RV is. And, basically you can look at this for yourself and decide, whether, this is exactly what you're seeing or not. Let's see. I'm learning how to use this Minicam thing here, so I'm trying not to screw anything up here.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to make this screen bigger here. Oh, nope, it didn't make it bigger. That just started it. Where is it?
Yeah, that's the one I showed earlier.
Okay, yeah, but see now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you where the come on, load. That's the only bad thing about using Minicam is it requires you to log into their service. Watch this area right here.
I have a better one if you need it.
Wow, you see that, right? The explosion is nowhere near the RV, like I said.
Nope.
Yep, the RV is across the road.
But that does not align with the other camera, though.
The other camera doesn't show the explosion, bro. The other camera shows the RV way down the way. This is.
I pointed out in the last live stream. If that angle from the last live stream that we were tearing apart, it was going to hit the bottom of the building. It was not going to hit the street.
No, brother, you're not hearing me. The video that we showed on the last one did not show the RV in front. You're talking about the one where it's black and white?
Yes.
Okay, that video does not show the RV. It doesn't show anything.
Correct, but the angle
this video does. You're looking at the RV to the left.
I see that.
Okay.
I see that. I'm just pointing out, like, hey, we got to piece all of this together and separate videos. We can't say they're all the same, right?
Check this out. Check this out, Casey. With this, we're not even talking about drones. We're not talking about no missiles. We're talking about a direct, what is it called? Direct energy weapon?
Yep. It's the DEW systems, direct energy weapon systems.
Okay, go ahead, Hawk. Take it away.
So through looking at this and seeing, the all the images of debris and so on and so forth, that was an implosion, not an explosion. Now, I was an artilleryman for many years in the Marine Corps, and the one thing that we learned about was the explosives in which we had to use. Okay, and when you're facilitating a mission, and you have to minimize collateral damage, and such, you have to use different techniques in order to eliminate your opposition. Whether you want to call them an enemy or an opponent or opposition, that's for you. But in doing the research on this and then looking at the scattered debris that was outside, that light, not only hit the street, it directly in front of the building, but also hit the building. And when you look at the pattern of the debris, it would appear that the explosion was actually just inside the wall of that building. Okay. Now, let me ask you something. Christian, we're a Christian nation. Where is everybody on a Christian holiday?
Home.
Exactly. Everybody's at home. That means your streets are not filled with people. Your people, your businesses are not filled with people. If anything, you have a bare bones minimum. Okay. Mm-hmm. The next thing I found out was the sound system that was announcing that there was going to be an explosion. This RV will detonate in 15 minutes, so on and so forth. Okay. The thing was there was no speaker on the RV. The speaker was the AT&T light post that was outside. Do
we have any proof of that?
Yeah, actually, yes. I have. I just have to figure out
also,
which. I have three screens filled with information here. So give me a second here to find it.
So
yeah, I would just like
Hawk,
to know where the audio come from, because all I have is one surveillance camera showing the audio of what it's playing, and I would like to see where it's coming from.
Yeah,
That's
it's yeah. Give me a couple of seconds to do that, but just so you guys can get into get a dialogue going here in regards to this.
Blake,
so
you go for it. Or no, go ahead. Hawk, my bad.
Where it comes to a do system, these things can be set to start fires, can be used to eliminate targets, can be used to. Let me put it to you this way: we could be sitting here having this conversation. Okay. And a do system could pinpoint me out of the sky and take me completely out of the picture. Okay. I mean, that is how precise this it connects to a satellite that is in space. Okay. That can actually skeletize your building, allowing you to see every single target inside the building. Now, and I'm talking not only through concrete, through building materials, I'm talking about through solid lead. This thing can see through lead. Okay. And this is really no joke. This is a system that could have been used to take out enemy targets at any time. Instead, we're sending men, into war, when we could have taken out all the nukes and everything else with just this, simple weapon, so that it gives you something to chew on there. In the meantime, I'll let you guys go ahead and talk here. I'm going to pull up the information in regards to that AT&T light poles, and then I'll be back with you.
Okay, I want Blake to chime in real quick. I think you had something to say. Go ahead, Blake.
Oh, just an update on the shooter in Illinois. There's several people were shot. 6 people were shot at a bowling alley. 3 are confirmed dead. 3 are at the hospital. The person of interest who shot the individuals is in custody. They're not sure. Currently, they deemed it right now no longer active shooter. So that's just kind of what's happening in Illinois.
So, Cash, I think you're referencing my post on number of people mass shootings that occurred under Trump's reign, his 4 years. The reason why I pose that question is how many are blasted all over TV? We only had 1 by what I can recall, and that was Vegas. That was it.
I just found it to be strange that I read that post, and then here today we got active shooters across the country.
Well, we had them all year. We had them in 2019 everywhere, but not a single one was blasted on media because they were too busy picking on Trump. They were picking on Trump and not talking about other important things. And so that's why I posed that question. And as soon as people understood why I was posing that question, there was no other. Like Curtis is one of them. Curtis jumped in.
I get it. I totally get it.
You're going to see an uptick.
What are you seeing?
You're going to see an uptick of shootings.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the Supreme Court's going to have to rule on something in regards to the Second Amendment. It's all playing into part.
I don't disagree at all.
Before we keep going, guys,
we're stuck.
Before we keep going, people right now they're saying that you're freezing up on Facebook. Switch over to YouTube, please. Switch over. Get off of Facebook. Switch over to the YouTube channel and subscribe there. That's where everything you will get updated. There's no way that you will miss a notification if you go to YouTube, subscribe, and ring that bell. You will always be notified when we go live. All right. Real quick, John, man, what are you thinking about all this? Because I know you're a walking history book and encyclopedia of knowledge, bro. So how are you feeling about all of this stuff?
Well, something I've been noticing, I've been following you and Blake and pretty much all of you. A lot of times we're looking at a smaller picture. Like right now, everybody's analyzing the bomb or whatever you want to call it. When there's more to it. What was the target? And I believe it was the AT&T building. There's different reports about some of the voter equipment being nearby. And I shared a clip with you. It was called Wonderland. And it was about before Trump even got president. This war goes back all the way to the beginning of time. It's something that's been being fought. You can say it's a spiritual war or whatever you want to call it. But from the beginning of time, there's been a war. There's been two different sets of things going on. And you can actually say it's a mirror effect. Over here, you have one thing, and over here, you'll have just the opposite. Whether it be a religious or political or whatever you want to call it. And what we've got right now is with the Trump administration and everything going on, basically, the one side is fighting for their lives. And that's what's coming to surface. Whether it be to hide evidence, maybe that's what this was. Maybe it was to destroy the equipment that was intended to do something bad for this country.
Yeah.
In that Wonderland video, AT&T played a big part in the globalist plan to actually chip everybody, to where if you don't have a chip, you can't buy nothing, you can't get groceries, you can't do nothing until you get this chip, which ties into the virus whole thing. Agenda 21 and Event 201, if you ever watch that, and I actually posted something on your, I believe it was in your email.
Hey, 1 second, John. 1 second. I hear you because you're going into some other topics that we do want to discuss. But right now, I want to stay on this Nashville. And you started touching on it. You said what was the agenda? What was the target? Right. Well, here's the thing. We know that it had to be something to either get people to just shake people up, number one. But number two, I feel like it was to destroy some information. That's what I feel like it was, because they warned people to evacuate. If you really wanted to hurt someone, you would not warn them to evacuate or get them to be gone.
A terrorist don't.
I want to pull up Hawk real quick, you guys, because he's got something.
I don't believe that necessarily was the situation.
It might not be. I'm just saying from my opinion. In my opinion, that's what I feel like it could be.
Or when they tell you to evacuate, you're coming from a secure building and you're leaving to go in the streets and not in a secure area. Does that make sense?
I hear you. I hear you. But
we'll never
if it was targeted to hurt people, is that they wouldn't have said anything. They would have just left it and boom. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
Let's pull up Hawk real quick. Go ahead, Hawk. Break it down.
Okay, so the smart pole speaker that I was speaking of is installed with something called Crystal. I'm trying to figure out how I can adjust things on this. I told you I'm kind of new to using these computers in this way, and I have the photographs, but my Minicam is being a pain in the butt. So what I'm going to have to do is make this full screen and change this out.
It's all right. Do your thing, because you got, bro. You're amazing. Just so you know.
I'm just somebody who pays attention. I see things different than other people do. And sometimes when you see that, it's better to see it for what it's worth. So
Hawk, I have a question for you.
So this is the poll here, and it kind of gives you a breakdown. I think I should know. How come I can't drag that thing over there?
I have no idea. I'm not familiar with it, but I'm telling you, if you hit the share screen on the bottom of your screen when you're on StreamYard, right in the bottom, you'll see mute, stop, cam mic, share screen. If you hit share screen and then go over to whatever, all the way to the far right, it'll pull up whatever screen you want. Just hit share, and then I can pull it up for you, and then you can navigate it. But what was your question, Blake? You had a question for him.
Yeah. So what is? I think the company's called Smart Guard or Safety Guard. One of those, I can't remember the name, but it's located.
Sun Guard.
Yes, it's located really close to that street.
Yeah, it's Sun Guard.
Can you elaborate on who they are?
You got it. You figured it out.
Okay, Sun Guard is, and I actually do have that information on here. Nope, it's not that one.
You really do, dude. Jesus.
Yeah, let me tell you, man. I have so much information on this computer. I could keep you guys busy for probably.
That's all we want is educate the people, man, and give them whatever we can that's relevant to truth and the situation that we're in right now in our country. And while he's pulling this up, you guys, if you could, please share this video out. If you're on Facebook, get off Facebook, because Facebook, fuck them. Please go over to YouTube, subscribe, like the channel, ring the bell. You never miss another upload, and it helps me out big time. I don't like Facebook. I really want to get off, but all of you guys that are on Facebook were like, please don't leave Facebook. Just keep going on here and use other platforms. So that's what I'm doing. I'm staying on here for you guys, but please, since I'm doing that, please go to my YouTube as well. Look out for your boy. All right, let's see what you got. What you pulling up right here? The RV did not have a speaker to warn people in the area. Confirmed. It was AT&T Smart Pulse speaker with Crystal. Wizardsoftware.com. They think you're stupid.
Yep, and this is the thing. That was there's like 4 of those on that street. Okay, not only do they have, and this is what's crazy, is not only do they have, you know, a photo cell to them, but they're also a wireless transmitter. They're an image sensor, you know, basically facial recognition, digital signage. So anything that you log in to any type, on any type of device, automatically, boom, that pole has got it.
I will challenge that. There's nothing on that telephone, that light pole, that will transmit with a cell phone unless you log in on a wireless device on a Wi-Fi network.
Okay, you understand that this is a wireless transmitter.
Regardless, you have to log in on it.
Okay, and it's,
you don't automatically log into every Wi-Fi network that exists.
Okay, you're talking about a light pole that's outside the NSA security facility in the same building as the AT&T building.
You are talking to someone that is an IT nerd and understands our IP frequencies. No, that's not how things work.
Okay,
this is an AT&T product.
It doesn't matter.
This is an AT&T product, and this is their specifications. This is them listing what this telephone pole does.
AT&T wireless networks run on 800 frequencies, 700 frequencies, 1700 frequencies, 1800 and 1900 frequencies. Wireless transmission for Wi-Fi runs on 800 frequencies, which is not the same. There is a difference. So your Wi-Fi will run on 802.11 AC, 802.11 AX, 802.11 N.
Okay. What would they need a wireless transmitter for?
What do you need a wireless transmission for?
What would you need a wireless transmitter for?
Well, for a lot of things, but I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to explain.
So this has an image sensor on it, has an IP camera, has a sound sensor, water detection, seismic sensor, a speaker, which basically works like an EMS or an EBS system. Okay.
No.
What do you mean no? What do you mean no?
They run on separate frequencies.
Hold on. Hey, Casey, hold on. I got a question.
Wait, Casey. They run on.
Casey, if he's got this information and AT&T is saying this, you might know a lot about IT, but why are you trying to disprove what?
I'm not trying to disprove. I want real facts. And the problem is we have no facts. We have a picture with Wi-Fi transmission on it, but it doesn't actually tell you what Wi-Fi signal and what frequencies it communicates on.
But that doesn't mean that it's not real, is what I'm saying. You might be right about that, but that doesn't mean that what he's saying isn't valid and it's not a real thing.
I can prove some things that are not valid. And that's what I mean is when we're talking about Wi-Fi frequencies within the citizens area.
What if it runs on a different frequency, Casey?
What if it runs on a different frequency?
Okay.
Go ahead and tell me if you believe it's running on a different frequency.
Well, I would definitely believe that the NSA is running on a different frequency.
Oh, absolutely. But
AT&T
can't. It is not lawful for any private industry to run on any other frequencies other than what governments permit.
What if the government permitted them?
So what is what?
What if the government permitted them? Who, like, that's the thing. Like, it's possible. What he's saying is possible.
Especially when we talk about the deep state.
Then we would see other problems, right? So if we start looking at wireless frequencies, we got to be careful with that because there are very few limitations, and mostly it comes to our government and what they can actually utilize. They don't give us the great frequencies. The Army has the great frequencies. I will tell you that right now. The Army has amazing frequencies to where Wi-Fi can reach miles. We don't have that luxury.
Okay, well, look, before we get into all of that, because I'm gonna tell you right now, when you talk about these, like the video that we just shared, I don't know if you was watching with the energy, what's it called, the direct energy weapon.
Yep.
Okay, so that right there, you're talking about something like that is verified that it does exist, that we should believe doesn't. Now, I want real quick before you keep going, Casey, because I'm not here to have people challenging anything. First, I want him to be able to get his thought out and exactly what it is that he's explaining, because his brother does a lot of research. And I know that you say, you're an IT nerd, and I totally get that. But just because you're an IT nerd does not make you the absolute on IT. So I want to hear what he got to say, and then if you want to say something after that, that's all good. But I want him to get this thought out because this shit's it's interesting and serious to me.
No, correct, and I do apologize.
It's okay. I deal with
subject for me because I live this every day.
I hear you, and I'm gonna give you a shot. I really want him to get his thought out without interruption.
I will go ahead and
hold on. I have a question, real quick. We know that there was hacks all across the country. So if we can hack stuff all across this country, don't you think we could create more frequencies that weren't guaranteed by the government that could hack into these things, granting frequencies that were not normally frequencies guaranteed? Like, we were hacked by a country and infiltrated every system within the United States.
I will address that when I'm given when I can talk.
Got you, Casey. Love you to death, brother. Nothing personal at all.
And I'm not taking anything personal either. I am not an IT guy in any way, shape, or form. I was an artillery man. Okay, that meant that I dealt with explosives on a daily basis for many, many years. I dealt with investigating explosives and investigating sites that explosives were used. So what I'm telling you is that, number one, that RV did not have a speaker on it, okay? And that the speaker that was used, and I have it up on my screen right now. This is from the AT&T site in regards to VoIP. Voice over Internet Protocol, which you probably know quite a bit about, and that there are approximately, I believe, 380 of those sites throughout the United States. Okay, this AT&T building was one of those sites. Okay, at the same time, there was inside that building were a couple other businesses that all were interlinked with governmental type things. I'm not going to say whether they were directly linked to the NSA or not, because I'm not in the NSA. So for me to put that out there would be wrong. But basically, the way that this light pole was explained to me was that light pole was what was used in order to alert the people who lived around there that there were actually no bullets going off or being fired, that that the tenants who believed that they saw that were actually just catching reflections of one of the cruiser's lights from up the street. That was a flashing light or something was blinking off of the window. Now, whether that is true or not, whether that is true or not, I would have to see that video in order to say whether or not there was actual gunfire. But from the way that they were talking was that the gunshots were so loud that they could have only come from a speaker, could not have been actual live firing, because you have doors, you have walls, you have windows, you have curtains, all of these things would muffle out sound. They said that the distinction of the gunfire was so clear that it sounded like it was just on the other side of their door. Now, basically, if the street is set up with multiple of these poles, and these poles have a speaker on them, which is directing people, telling people to evacuate, giving a countdown, so on and so forth. Okay. And then we look at the video and see that the RV never blew up. Okay. But these speakers gave warning all the way up until the point of due impact. Okay. Now I'll shut up.
No, you're all good. That's amazing. And I'm gonna give it over to Casey. I want everybody to jump in on this discussion, but real quick, I gotta address a comment real quick in the side because it's apparently somebody that I know that I've known. I don't really know him, but we worked together before. In the comments, last name Willer. Not gonna say the first name because you get censored and stuff if you call people out. But bro, stop being a bitch. Straight up. I don't appreciate that shit, bro. You never comment on anything else. And we know each other. Like I could drive over to where you are right now type shit. Please stop being a little bitch in the comments, bro. Straight up before I expose your ass and tell people exactly how soft of a man you really are. All right. Don't be a fucking keyboard warrior because I'll take that drive. All right. So calm your soft ass down, bro. Go ahead, y'all.
Okay. One quick thing to add before he gets started is, one thing that should be extremely curious to people is why Stevenson would announce that he is stepping down effective July 1st and was not replaced, as the CEO of AT&T until John Stankey took over in November of 2020. It was that Stevenson's effectiveness or the effect of his resignation does not go into effect until January 2021.
It's a valid question. So let me just elaborate a couple things. But Blake, to answer your question on can frequencies change? Yes, it requires certain technologies to be put in, which is called a modem. Or a radio antenna to change the frequencies. They are programmed to only accept certain frequencies. They don't accept everything.
Is it possible to program something differently to accept different things? Is it possible?
Yes and no, depending on the frequency. So if you can tell me the frequency, it's possible. And for example, and I will give you a real world example that all of us have seen on TV. 5G versus 4G. 5G requires a new modem. 4G doesn't. If you want 4G frequencies and you have a modern phone, you get those frequencies. So you don't necessarily need something. 5G, you do, because it's got to accept other frequencies that are now permitted for us as U.S. citizens and companies to utilize. For Wi-Fi, it gets even more sketchy because Wi-Fi, you are extremely limited. Like there is not a whole lot of choices. I'm not saying you guys are wrong, but there's a lot of questions I have about this light pole thing that's coming around. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but it's just not adding up to me. I honestly believe this is more of a false flag and something to give a warning shot because our government is realizing we are uniting. That is what I'm seeing. I'm not, because if you're going to pull out this light pole stuff and you're going to pull all these other things, we're going to start saying, hey, it was somebody else. It's going to be ISIS or ISIL or whatever you want to call that, right?
Not true, brother.
Hang on, hear me out for just a minute, and then I'll explain. We're going to start saying it could be anyone, literally anyone.
It's probably going to be a far-right conservative conspiracy theorist that they're going to be.
Let's be honest, it's going to be some white guy. That's just crazy because that's who always gets pinned on it is some white guy. Right?
They already have a potential suspect.
53-year-old.
And I was reading that earlier. It's by CBS that you shared, Suni. And It's weird. I was reading about it, and if you look at his initials, like speculated, it's related to Conan, however you say it.
No, don't say it. Don't say the word.
Don't say it.
The Q word. There
No,
you go.
don't say that. Don't say anything with that letter. There's
So,
nothing. None of that.
It's cash. I'm gonna say it's cash.
There you go.
So just know, I'm on your guys' side, but I'm calling out the technology questions that I have because I've read them. I avoided it yesterday. I avoided everything around Nashville yesterday because I was like, I'm taking a break. But the stuff I read this morning, and I'm like, some of this technology doesn't make sense. Now, Hawk, I'm not saying you don't know what you're talking about or the people you're following aren't giving you real information, but I'm just letting you know there's a lot of questions I have with the technology there. And that's where I mentioned to you and Cash earlier on, hey, I got a million questions for you about this stuff.
But I don't think he's following people, man. This is stuff that he researches and studies. This dude said you got to get to know Hawk to understand exactly how cold this dude actually is, bro. Straight up.
I'm not saying anybody has to defend him. I'm just saying I'm coming from the realm of technology, and some stuff doesn't make sense, and we got to get answers to that. If it's true, it's true.
But at the same time, there's a lot of technology that we don't have access to. That's like that Huawei or Huawei or however you pronounce it. That's Japanese.
Huawei.
The Japanese have, yeah. I heard that Trump, see, they wanted to put that into this country, but Trump put a stop to the Chinese, anything Chinese electric that has to do with where they could actually shut our grid down, our communications and stuff like that. So there's a technology out there by China that I don't believe we have access to. And maybe that's something that goes on there.
I will tell you, you are 1,000,000% accurate. We do not have access to a lot of technology. The U.S. government restricts all frequencies that we run on. You can freely Google it, and it will instantly just come up. There is also a lot of technologies that other countries utilize that they don't restrict. Mm-hmm. However, where my bigger question is where do we come in? Why did it matter for this one street, 2nd Avenue in Nashville, and no one died? 0 people died. So that tells me it is an agenda to put fear in people, and that is what we need to focus on. However,
but not just to put fear in people. I don't think it was just to put fear in people, because why would they choose this precise location? There's a reason for it, just beyond putting fear in people. If they wanted to put fear in people, there's a million other ways to do it.
Well, what damage was
wait. Not just that.
It was
people in Nashville. Wait 1 second.
It was
people
an information storage facility.
Hold on, Hawk, 1 sec. People in Nashville will tell you right now they cannot use their cards. Their cards are shut down. The communications was shut down, so you couldn't even call 911. And what was the other thing? There's something else, man.
I watched your live stream. So yes, cards were shut down because a lot of them run on AT&T networks, which is the wireless network, which was outside of a building which had a wireless tower on it.
Before that is what I'm trying to tell you. Before the explosion happened, communications were shut down.
Only for one network. You wouldn't have T-Mobile shut down. You wouldn't have Verizon shut down.
Everything. It doesn't matter if you had AT&T or not. Communicate. You could not call 911.
I have not read evidence of that.
People talk to anybody in Nashville.
Dude, I live in Utah. I don't have anybody.
But that's what I'm trying to tell you. People have been messaging me all day since it happened.
Well,
all day.
Something I've noticed.
Thanks, Amber.
Your time and doing research and stuff like that, you don't actually get all the details. You need to connect the dots. And let's deal with what we do know and move on. We can sit here and argue all night over Wi-Fi. But take what we do know, that, there was an explosion, there was a high energy weapon used, and let's see if what we can put together, and maybe, I think we all know why. Like I said, we're at war, and it's you can say it's Democrat, Republican, good versus evil or whatever you want to call it. But right now, and this has been boiling for many years, it's now coming to a head. I think now there's actually a battle to actually, instead of just arguing, they're going to sit there, putting their foot down.
Can we hear Sunni's thoughts? I'm curious.
Go ahead, Sunni. But before we do that,
Even though you might, she
that
might
was
grill
another
me,
thing
but
at the airport. They shut down the fly zones. It was a no-fly zone.
Dude, they do that. They do that in any domestic terrorism or terrorism act.
Bro, if that's what I'm trying to tell you, it was not considered domestic terrorism or a terrorism act. It was a bomb that went off, supposedly a bomb or whatever the hell it was, and it was a no-fly zone. Period. How do they know it wasn't just an explosion?
I'm not disagreeing with you.
You're playing too much of the devil advocate for me today. I'm not even gonna lie to you because
dude,
dude,
just hang on for a second.
Okay,
just know,
in one way, this guy, in many ways, this young man is right. I can't argue with the IT side of this. I told you that. I'm not a genius where that's concerned. The National Defense Airspace, okay, saying deadly force can be used against violators. Okay, that is the key to the airspace that you guys need to pay attention to. Okay, so the idea is this. I'm going to spin this ball in my right hand here, okay? But you're not going to see what my left hand is doing, okay? So basically, in shutting down the airspace, and this is an absolute necessity, they even shut down the airspace in Portland when the riots get a little bit too out of hand. Okay, I mean that's how far the extent of locking down airspace can go. But for them to use the National Defense Airspace and then stating that deadly force would be used against violators basically tells you that they know that there is something in the air that is not supposed to be there. Okay, and that's what they're targeting. Now, to put that out to the public, okay, if something gets shot down, the public had fair warning. Now, it doesn't mean that they have to explain to you what was shot down. They don't have to do that at all. Not one bit. Okay, once the military becomes involved, at that point there, the State Department, the Congress, the Senate, the state governments no longer matter. That is national military at that point.
Well, to go along with that, you take what all's going on. Some things have to happen before something else can happen.
Absolutely.
That some of this is actually for the good of the people, even though they use this situation, and that's just like the virus and everything else that's going on. They can use it to benefit the people as well as harm. So there's two sides to everything going on right now. They know more about what's going on than we do, and we're sitting here trying to put it together. But like I said, we need to just come up with dots, and then pretty soon we can draw a picture.
Facts. I agree. Real quick, I want Sunni to jump in. Sunni, what do you think?
Please. And sorry, guys, I created chaos because I got caught up in my technology
we
stuff.
Still love you, Casey.
I still want to hear Sunni's thoughts.
But that's good.
We do need a devil's advocate, so you're good.
I think that we should look at everything at a broad view. I don't think we should pinpoint one thing and say it's this. I don't think we should say it that. I think we need to look at it at a broad view and look at our options. And like he just said, it's our job to connect the dots because the media is not going to give us the truth. The government's damn sure not going to tell us the truth. And, nobody outside of that. Now, looking at this, there are a ton of different ways you can go. I'm open to everything, but I'm more interested in the Sun Guard and why they're connected to solar winds and Solar Winds also deals with data. And the whole bombing didn't even take place where AT&T was, the building. They're on 2 different streets.
Exactly.
So communications knocked out. That building's pretty much destroyed. There was some talk of them removing things from there. So I think with stuff like this, you have to work backwards. We need to see what they were doing before all this bombing went on. And we can definitely find that. There's information out there. And after you get that, connect the dots. Now, don't jump at headlines. People do that all the time. They're like, oh, hey, this happened. Oh, this happened. No, let's just sit back, relax, and see what our options are. And to me, when I talked about this yesterday, because I'm like, why is nobody talking about this? This was crazy. When I got online, there was nobody talking about it. I'm like, okay, so there's an RV. It's warning people, which means they don't want to hurt people. There are several people that lived in the area that said they were kind of thrown off by it, and they're kind of scared to go outside. But eventually they heard the RV or whatever was making a noise say, you got 15 minutes. And they were like, all right, let's get out. So they left. Everything explodes. Only 3 people were injured. Nobody died. They claimed to have human tissue. Like I said, look beyond. You had dogs sniffing around that area all day. And all of a sudden, we have human tissue. All of a sudden, we have a suspect. I'm going to call bullshit on a lot of this. And I'm going to pinpoint the deep state. I'm sorry. I think a lot of what goes on here are special operations that we just don't know about as the average U.S. citizen, because most people don't pay attention to this stuff like we do. They just don't.
I agree.
Can I ask one question real quick, though? I'm curious. Like, Suni, this is one of the things I wanted to ask you earlier when we were getting on. What do you think is the agenda here? Because if we look at the video evidence, there is damage, but I've seen people claim it's for voting systems, but I don't see enough damage to cause problems for voting systems. And I've even had people claim that's where their servers were. And I'm like, you don't put that in a random building on a street. You would put it in a data center where it's secure and it's safe. So what is your 2 cents there? Because I really question a lot of those things that I can't piece it together.
I think when stuff is in plain sight, you don't pay attention to it. Nobody's going to say, oh man, they're putting voting stuff there. It's a building. It's hidden in plain sight. Nobody's thinking about it. Like I just said, the average American is not going this far into like trying to piece things together. So I'm not going to put it past them to actually put things there, because it's like when you're looking for something so hard. This is what I do all the time, looking for something so hard, and half the time it's right in my face. You just don't notice it. So I think this is I think a lot of this is optics, as far as the avenue they're taking with finding a bomber, having all I don't believe that. I don't believe this dude had anything to do with it, like at all. I do think they're trying to hide stuff, and they use distractions to get us to look at one thing and say, okay, well, this is it. This was a terrorist attack. When it could be the government doing a whole bunch of shit behind the scenes. Like, you just never know. That's why it's good to stay vigilant and look at things at a broad view. Look at everything. And take what makes sense.
That was my big question. Is this a false flag to distract us to focus on something when they're doing something else?
Yep.
Right? We just had the COVID bill crash.
Sleight of
and
hand.
Crashed twice now. Once, thank God for Trump. The second time was because the House couldn't even pass it. Mm-hmm. Is there something else going on? And
I believe so.
That's why I asked that question. Is there might be something I don't know. Ultimately, no one died. Thank the Lord. But it looks fishy to me in a lot of scenarios, and I don't want to get caught up in the details of technology. Like, people are like this and that and stuff. We're like, ultimately, that it doesn't matter, but it also doesn't make sense. Let's focus on how we can solve the problem and see what else they're trying to do. And that's what I'm ultimately seeing right now.
In that case, I would tell you to look at SunGuard, because that's a really important building on that street. That specific street.
I've been Googling it all day since my last stream.
There's your problem.
I have not heard of this company ever until just that last stream, and I'm like, all right, I got a new company to look at.
Yo, check it out. Check it out real quick, and I'm gonna give it back over to Hawk. With all of this, man, we're all here speculating. I love to speculate because it causes thought. When you pose questions, it causes thought. I don't want to dismiss anything at this point. For all I know, it could have been a damn alien that lives on Mars that shot it because they're in league with whoever. You know, who knows? I'm not dismissing anything, but I want to cause people to think about why and look into these things. Look into SunGuard. Look into AT&T. Look into all of this shit. Look into the weapon system. Look into all of it. Question everything. That's the whole point of what I try to do, is get people to think. I want you to get outside the box, outside of your comfort zone of what you think you know, and go into the things that you don't know, and then look at that, and then maybe it'll put some pieces together in your mind. That's the point of this. Paul, go ahead.
So connecting the dots is eventually what is the hope of the team for all Americans. Okay. And that's, you know, that's vital for people to understand the reality of the corruption, let me put it to you this way. Everything that you've been told since 1963 until today is bullshit.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, it's
Can we go back farther?
It's
go back to 1913 when we had no
well,
money?
actually, we could go back that far, but if we want to go that far, then we'd be getting into the three guys that got killed on the Titanic. That wasn't the Titanic; it was actually the Olympia. You know, and they just put the Titanic on there, hoping to collect a whole bunch of money, you know, for insurance because they had already damaged the original Titanic. You know. We could go into all kinds of, you know, all kinds of rabbit holes, you know, but this is a perspective that I wanted to share with you guys. It's the screen share thing is still there. I'm not sure if it's caught up with me or not. Bombing in Nashville. Cops came prior to because of reports of gunshots, but found no evidence of gunshots. Okay. Meaning that people heard gunshots, but absolutely no casings or bullets were found. Okay. So again, audio from the RV or truck telling people to evacuate. That truck was parked right next to that AT&T pole. That RV was parked right next to it. Right next to it. Okay. Previous article from The Guardian from 6/20/20. Tennessee paper religious ads claim Islam will detonate nuclear bomb in Nashville. Coincidence? Okay, let's already disprove that because number one, the broadcast of evacuation was in English. It was not, you know, I'm sorry, but if it was an Islamic terrorist, he would have waited until there was a whole bunch of people there to do collateral damage, as much collateral damage as possible. Okay. RV found on Karma Street, very near to the AT&T building. Well, we saw that because we saw the video. We saw where the RV was parked. If you go to the cities identified and look for AT&T buildings that have large cooling units on roofs, plus have a railroad crossing close by, then these are the tap points collecting our data for the NSA. Found almost all of them by using Google searches, and this was done by Bill Binney, or B2 is what they call him. So then AT&T employees work at high intensity drug trafficking area offices operated by the official or the Office of National Drug Control Policy in Los Angeles, Atlanta, Houston. So data can be quickly turned over to law enforcement agencies. Records are requested via administrative subpoena without the involvement of court or grand jury. That's basically kind of like your FISA, you know, if you think about it. You know, it's okay, well, we can walk into a judge and we can say, okay, we need your signature on this. Here's the proof. And boom, and everything is given to them. So was sued in 2006, Hepting versus AT&T, alleging they violated FISA First and Fourth Amendments. I believe that Hepting won that case. In May 2018, reports emerged that AT&T made 12 monthly payments between January and December 2017 to Essential Consultants, a company set up by President Donald Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen. Where have we heard that guy before? Reports from WAPO and Bloomberg revealed the payments had been made for Cohen to provide guidance relating to the attempted $85 billion merger with Time Warner to gain information on the Trump administration's planned tax reforms, as well as about potential changes to net neutrality policies under the new FCC censorship. Okay. Now, we know about the censorship because there were propaganda laws that were put into place at the end of World War II, or actually during World War II, in order to stop the Nazis from being able to spread their propaganda here in the United States via any type of media whatsoever, or any type of news type agencies and such. A spokesperson for AT&T said that the company had been contacted by special counsel investigation led by Robert Mueller. This is, I'm telling you, all of this all connects. Okay. Had been contacted by special investigator Robert Mueller regarding the payments and had provided all the information requested in November and December of 2017. After the acquisition of Time Warner in 2018, it held massive media assets, including, guess who? CNN and 50% of CBS. Who were the first ones to report on this yesterday?
I have no idea.
CNN.
Yeah.
They were me and Sunni.
Okay, now get this. They were live in Nashville before the cops showed up. Okay.
Wait,
So CNN was live in Nashville before the police even showed up on scene.
How?
Was that before the shooting or in between?
It was before the gunfire. They were there before the gunfire.
Interesting. Okay.
So,
I didn't know that.
okay. So, former CEO and future former chairman of AT&T, Randall Stevenson, fun facts, was chairman of the Boy Scouts of America, was mentored by Carlos Slim. He's a guy that you definitely want to do a little digging into to find out who Carlos Slim is. Subsequently promoted to CFO of Southwestern Bell Company. So that tells you that not just AT&T was affected, but that tells you that Southwestern Bell was now a tech, and it was the former name of AT&T. When AT&T had the merger, Southwestern Bell Company remained while AT&T was then transferred into the Time Warner division. Okay. Quickly resolved $30 billion in debt. Okay. Appointed by President Bush to National Security Telecommunications Advisory Committee. AT&T owns CNN. Time Warner is on the Council of Foreign Relations. This is where this stuff is getting good. Understand, the Council of Foreign Relations. Who else sits on the Council of Foreign Relations? That's another thing to do some quick research on. The RV was also parked near a building that holds Cerebras Capital, where the owners of Dominion Voting Systems used to be executives. The same Dominion Voting that was used, that used SolarWind products and services, the same SolarWind that was bought out by Silver Lake Partners, also close by on Commerce Street, is SunGard, a data company, which is also owned by Silver Lake. Silver Lake has investments in many big name companies such as Airbnb, Ancestry.com, Dell, Norton LifeLock, and Twitter.
Wow.
Twitter?
Wow.
Silver Lake also owns SolarWind, which was recently identified as being hacked, exposing our entire government, military, media, universities, and federal intelligence agencies, except for the CIA. Okay?
Wow.
Except for. Okay. Silver Lake operates through 3 primary businesses, all focused on technology investments: Silver Lake Partners, Silver Lake Alpine, Silver Lake Waterman. Among the firm's founders were Jim Davidson, who had led the technology investment banking business at Hambrecht and Quist, David Rausch, who had an operational and entrepreneurial background, having served as chairman and CEO of Liberate Technologies, executive vice president at Oracle Corporation. Damn, think about that. Oracle. You're an IT guy. Oracle. Think about that. You know what I'm saying? It's
It doesn't surprise me to say.
Oh,
Oracle.
exactly.
Right.
And senior vice president at Lotus Development. Okay.
I hate to
Lotus
say it, but I told you so. Sorry.
Yep.
Just had to throw
Roger,
that in
Yo,
there.
this shit is deep,
Okay.
bro.
So,
Roger,
okay, big question though. Big question.
well, let me finish reading it.
Let him
Hold
finish,
that
let him
question.
finish.
Write it down. Write that question down because I want you to ask it as soon as I finish with this. Okay. Roger McNamee, okay, is spelled McNamee, as the representative of Integral Capital Partners, a hybrid investment fund that had made investments in publicly traded companies and venture capital investments in early stage startups. Glenn Hutchins, who came from Blackstone Group, another one, Blackstone Group, and served as a special advisor on the economic and healthcare policy in the early Clinton administration, and previously worked at Thomas H. Lee Partners. P.S. Blackstone was founded and run by a guy by the name of Stephen A. Schwarzman, spelled Schwarzman, and has assets totaling over $550 billion. Coincidentally, in 2013, he founded an international scholarship program called the Schwarzman Scholars at Tsinghua University in Beijing to educate further leaders about China, or future leaders about China. At over $575 million, the program is modeled on the Rhodes Scholarship and is the single largest philanthropic effort in Chinese history, coming largely from international donors. Mr. Schwarzman is a member on the Council of Foreign Relations, the Business Council, the Business Roundtable, and the International Business Council of World Economic Forum. He is the former co-chairman of the Partnership for New York City and serves on the boards of the Asian Society and New York Presbyterian Hospital, as well as the advisory board of the School of Economics and Management at the Tsinghua University in Beijing. Mr. Schwarzman holds a BA from Yale University and an MBA from Harvard Business. And I digress. Back to Silver Lake's Partners. Silver Lake's Partners' current chairman and managing partner is Kenneth Howe, a graduate of Harvard. Mr. Howe currently serves as the director of boards of portfolio companies Norton LifeLock, ServiceMax, Smart Global Holdings, and Solar Winds. From 2008 to 2011, he led the establishment of the firm's offices in China and Japan, and then led Silver Lake's investments in the Alibaba Group. Alibaba. Here we go. It just keeps digging deeper.
So much information that I've never heard before and don't even really know about, bro. Like
prior to joining Silver Lake, Mr. Howe was with Hambrecht and Quist, now part of J.P. Morgan. Okay. From 1990 to 1999, where he served as the managing director. Think J.P. Morgan owned cargo carriers seized full of drugs. Okay. Technology, our data, a large portion of the media, a large portion of the entertainment, China, Harvard, private equity investors, and Council on Foreign Relations, KEC, all one giant, corrupt as AF. AF means as
that's a lot of information. A lot of people tied into one fucking thing.
Oh yeah, It's a stupid rich family working from behind the scenes to control virtually everything with technology.
It branches off from a lot of what he just mentioned. Like Dominion is actually in your car industry. It's an AI technology that actually gathers information and gives it to the car salespeople, which is basically your information. How they're getting it, I don't know where they're getting it from, but it gathers the information. And it say if you go online and you're looking for a Dodge pickup truck, well, in a local dealership, they'll get that information. They'll say, Cash, you're looking for a Dodge pickup truck. And then you'll probably notice you'll get some pop-ups on your screen. You know, oh, look, here's a Dodge pickup truck. Or you'll get something in the mail. This is how they work, you know. Technology has gotten very sophisticated and advanced. And even in what we, like he was saying earlier, what we see is not true. Our government, you know how Trump says the deep state. But if you notice, all the deep state are right in plain sight. All the people who are right up there with Trump when he's giving his speeches, you know, now you see Barr, he's gone. Asper with Homeland Security, he's gone. I have information on the probably the worst of them all is Fauci. Fauci actually helped design this virus that's supposedly
allegedly. Say allegedly before you make any claims, because they'll censor us.
Right, allegedly. And I mean, I think I shared some of this stuff with you, hoping you'd see it. I hate going live. I figure you like it, so here's the information.
I'll jump. Is it in my messenger, Facebook?
I think most of it is in your messenger.
I'm gonna check it out as soon as we're done here. I'm gonna research it because there's a lot of information to take, and I'm gonna have to go back after this is done and go back on everything that you talked about. Hawk Suni, I hope you was taking notes because we got a lot of research to do, a whole lot of research to do.
And that's like AT&T. There's one that's called Wonderland. There's a building in New York, and they call it Wonderland, and its address is 666. Actually, the headquarters for AT&T is there, and there's actually a manufacturing facility there. If you look at things, what they, whatever you want to call them, deep state or whatever, they wanted a global system. And they've wanted this ever since the United States has been started a government. They wanted to create a one world order. Well, AT&T was going to play the part because everybody was going to get a chip where you couldn't buy nothing, you couldn't really do anything unless you had that. AT&T was in charge of that. I think that kind of goes back to what happened here. Is they're wanting to, right now, like I said, the war's on, they're wanting to stop that. That's what Trump and his people are wanting to do. They're wanting to stop that one world order because it was not good for the people. It was going to be an entity over here had control of the whole world, and every country in the world was going to have to go by their rules. You was not going to be a United States no more, or a Russia or a China. And you're seeing a lot. When Trump got in, all these other countries, and you see around the world, if you look at their demonstrations, everybody's rooting for the United States because we have the military might. And they hope that we can actually defeat what this globalist entity, I'll call it. There are just so many variables to it. Are you still there?
Yeah, we're here. Hey, 1 second, John. Hawk, what is this that we're looking at?
That right there is the point of impact. That's your explosion right there. Now, this is what I'm trying to say is the RV is parked across the road. Okay. And you look at the damage that has been done to this building. Look at the debris on the ground. So if you look here here, do you see the direction and the scatter pattern of all of this material?
Mm-hmm.
It's all pointed outward. It's all pointed outward. There are boards in the holes that were blown that are protruding outward that did not have a wooden outface. It had wooden interior.
What is the picture? What is this picture of? Is this a building, top of building, side of the building?
This is a Skycam photo from Skycam 5, I guess it's called, the helicopter from Nashville, pointing down. So the point of impact was basically right here above this hole, this area right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to understand what that hole is. Is that in the ground, like where the sidewalk would be?
That is correct.
Because if you look at the explosion in the video, that would be where the sidewalk
would be where the sidewalk is.
That looks really weird structurally for being a sidewalk, but okay.
Well, this is the building. This right here.
I know, but underneath the sidewalk.
Well, not necessarily. You think that if you've got to bring large cases of equipment and things like that, you would have an elevator there in order to lower it down into the basement, take it into into an elevator that would go up inside the building. This is it's a means of bringing supplies in. It's like basically you could look at Coyote Ugly, for example, as a leading example of that. The bar is on the main floor, but all the beer is stored in the underside of the building. So in order to stock things and not use up her bar space, she would then use the basement. And basically what this has done is this has exposed the basement. Now, if there are electronics down inside there and this DEW goes off inside there, well, guess what gets shut down? Every bit of electronics in there. Everything is fried. You think of a EMP taking out, all the electricity and phone service and everything else. Well, if they didn't want to use an EMP and they just wanted to wipe out the technology and eliminate the ability for that storage facility that holds ballot information, that holds, voter information, that, it's, basically, when you look at this and you see the scattering of the debris, you see that it was an implosion, not an explosion. That's the point that I'm trying to make.
No, absolutely. I'm just trying to understand what I was looking at because it just looks a little weird to me. But I definitely the debris, it looks like it was pushed out. But Suni needs to say something, so I want to hear it.
Go for it, Sony.
Sorry, I was muted. I wanted to kind of bounce off of John and everybody in the comment section because I'm looking. Everyone is like, oh, my head hurts. This is like so far. This is not happening. CIA and Hollywood, motion pictures, they work together. You remember movies like, what is it, Minority Report? You got Mission Impossible. You got all these movies that deal with technology, especially when you're dealing with AI movies. And they have a hub that just creates everything and controls everything. They put that in front of your face constantly on purpose because, oh my God, I saw this in a movie. This could never happen in real life. That's what a lot of people are suffering from.
Exactly.
It's time to no, this is real.
Let go of everything you think you know and open your mind to the things that you think are impossible.
Right.
Well, let me put it to you.
Tinfoil thing, like the tinfoil hats. This stuff is real. How do you think they came up with movies?
Right.
You think they just pulled that from somewhere and was like, oh, I'm just about to make this cool movie and, put all this high tech stuff in it that doesn't exist at all.
Well, this could very well be taken back all the way to 1913, like he said. Okay. Everything that you've been taught is a conspiracy theory is in fact. Okay. Conspiracy equals crime. Look up the word conspiracy. It comes up as crime. The original conspiracy theorists
Holy
were
shit.
FBI agents and CIA agents who were out doing investigations. They were the original conspiracy theorists, because you have to take all of this information that you're given and create a theory. No different than, putting together I didn't go to college, but you got to do a thesis, like a thesis for college, thinking on that same level, to put together your thesis, you do your research, you connect all your dots, and then you present your thesis and you get graded on it accordingly. Okay. The difference is our grade is being dumbed down.
Mm-hmm.
That's our reward for finding all the pieces of a puzzle is, hey, we're just going to make you a little stupider now. So you're right, Suni. This has been going on long enough, and to believe that you can't get on a train in Los Angeles and be in Washington D.C. in less than 4 hours without flying. Okay, think about that. There is an underground train system that goes from Los Angeles, California, all the way to Washington, D.C. 4-hour trip. Okay, my question is, then why in the hell are we paying for fuel for Nancy Pelosi to fly her jet from California to Washington, D.C. 2 or 3 times a week when she's got this train available to her?
Well, and not only that.
Wow. Wait, do you guys, real quick, does this help at all, Hawk, with what you were saying about the explosion? Because look at this.
Yep.
This is on the block.
Yep.
Are these is this your screen?
Yeah, this is my screen.
Yep.
Will you send me links for those? I want to go through them.
Via
But yeah, you're on point. This is weird.
Look at that.
None of the damage goes in. All of the damage is to the exterior wall, and almost all of it has fallen outwards. Now, The stuff that you see piled up, like right there on the screen right now, the stuff that's piled up there, that's all stuff from the floors above.
Mm-hmm.
That's all stuff that came downward. Okay. Everything that was on that lower ground, that's all where these gentlemen are standing. That debris field, that's all out there in front of them.
Wow. Look at that, dude.
No, and that makes sense. I have not seen these pictures, and these are much more destruction than I have ever seen out of photo evidence from this event.
Okay, and understand that
I've seen this. I was looking at this, and I'm like, oh yeah, glass, and yeah, you got some debris. But that other one, where you seeing things, that one is very telling.
Now, understand that a DEW weapon does not explode from impact on the top of the roof. Okay, they could literally centralize right down. Say you had a mainframe computer there, they could pinpoint to that mainframe computer, blow that mainframe computer and everything around it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean that's how technologically advanced we really are.
Can we confirm that this building that has all the destruction is actually a building that we're talking about?
I mean, these pictures just now got sent to me right now.
And just pinpoint, because it looks centralized for sure. Like it is centralized right there in that location. But
all I'm saying is there's only one building that got the walls blown off, like just gone.
Well, not only that, if it was a car bomb or any type of conventional bomb, there'd be a hole out there in the street.
Yep.
That's what I was questioning earlier. Is like,
but you would also have an axle.
Yeah.
You would have an axle. You would have pieces of tire. You would have pieces of the RV. Those white pieces that you see in the photographs, those aren't from an RV. Those are paper. Those are paper and posters that were up on windows and things like that. That's what those are.
And that's like looking at this open-minded. It takes me back to 9/11, which they showed a Pentagon, and they say a 747 hit it, but the hole's not big enough.
There's no evidence of a plane ever.
Right.
No.
Oh,
And then-
not even in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, the one that hit and out in the field, there's no wreckage. It's like, see, they think we're stupid. They
They do.
really do. They really do
They-
think we're stupid.
That's
Well-
why I would like to piggyback off of what she said, because it's literally is hidden in plain sight. Like the world leaders outside of America, they tell you exactly what's going on. I watch a lot of Chinese news. I like watching their news out there where they attack the CCP, and they're talking about the Great Reset. Not to get off topic, but all these things going on, they're talking about it, and our leaders are just like, "Hi guys, come vote."
Yeah.
They are really talking about that.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I've heard it mentioned in Canada, but I didn't know in China.
Yo, they're talking about it all. They have a whole website dedicated to how, you know what, is the Great Reset. Like,
Right.
but mainstream media was calling it a conspiracy theory. No, this is fake. Like I said, American news.
Right.
It's not going
Yo.
on.
This shit got me bugging. I'm not even gonna sit here and lie to you guys. It's got my head spinning. Like I'm a little bit like
Dude,
not shaking up, but like,
It's a lot of information, man. It's
Let-
a lot of information.
no, that shit is terrifying.
Let me
This
show you
shit
how
is terrifying.
let me show you how stupid we are. We have a government that makes decisions for us.
Yep.
Why can't we make the decisions for ourselves?
Exactly.
I mean, we gave those laws and everything up a long time ago.
Well,
You know,
1913, when the Fed was when the Fed came in, because immediately after the Fed, you figure they had 10 years of prosperity, and then boom, bankruptcy.
well,
Why do you think I asked about that year out of
Yep.
all years? Like
Yeah, we've
1913 is a very big
been
year.
in bankruptcy since 1933. The United States has been in bankruptcy. Trump pulled us out of that bankruptcy not even a year and a half ago. For the first time, we have the ability to, and this is the thing is we're going to be going to the gold standard, and the gold standard means that we're going to have gold-backed dollars. It's not going to be run on petrol fuel anymore. Our economy is not going to be run on petrol fuel. We can provide our own fuel. Okay. But, the other thing is going to be when the Tesla technology is released to the public, that's going to be the kicker, because, it's, if you think about it, our families and the wealth that we could have acquired in the period of time from the early, from when Tesla was actually alive and working on his inventions and everything. Okay. The advancements that our country could have goes well beyond anything that your imagination could prevail.
And hang on, Hawk. Let me elaborate one thing real quick. You're saying Tesla technology as in Nikola Tesla, not as in Tesla as in most people know it as today.
I'm talking about Nikola Tesla. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was clarifying, because I originally was like, wait a minute,
One of my
our modern
heroes, by
Tesla
the way.
doesn't patent anything.
Who
I
was the-
love
Who
Nikola
was the guy
Tesla.
who was the guy who spent the last 2 years of Tesla's life? Who spent the last 2 years of Tesla's life with him?
Trump.
John Trump.
Yeah.
Donald Trump's uncle. Do you not think that in those 2 years that they spent alone together working in Tesla's private facility, that John Trump was not clued in on everything, on how to make everything work? Okay. Because when Tesla did his patents, he intentionally kept certain parts out in order to make sure that his technology could not be used for evil. That man wanted to save the planet, wanted to save the people, did not want it used for war, did not want it used as a defense system or anything like that. He wanted to provide.
They took his stuff, and now they charge us for it. What he wanted, what he intended to be free for everyone.
Who are the two people we get to blame for that? There's only two people. Literally two people. Who do we get to blame for it?
Well,
anybody know the answer to that?
Well, we can look at the royal family for one.
Well, you look at Thomas Edison and Westinghouse.
Oh, absolutely.
Both of them
I'm
funded him.
sorry, but I got to say it.
Took his
Fraudulent.
skills.
Thomas Edison is fraudulent as hell. I got to say it.
Oh, absolutely.
Fraudulent.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
No
man,
doubt.
A lot of those dudes were. A lot of those dudes were.
Well,
It was-
not only that,
From my understanding, it was actually a black man who actually invented the telephone
Yes. There's
a year
lot of things that was in the
before
black community, people
Edison
tell you.
brought it to the forefront.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right here, I want to read this real quick. I'm a 17 and 10 foil head. 45 has so much evidence that goes way back. Ask them about the letters handed to certain people at Bush's funeral. You guys know anything about that?
Oh yeah.
Pence got a letter. Just saying.
Well, if you pay attention to on Bush's funeral, the flag was wrinkled.
Yep.
You're talking about McCain.
McCain.
No, so was Bush's.
And yeah,
really?
So was Bush's. Yes, it
anytime
was.
You see a
Yes,
wrinkled,
it was.
Anytime you see a wrinkled flag, that's a disgrace. That means they were a disgrace, not an honor.
The only reason that a flag was even over his casket was because of the fact that he had been president for 2 terms.
Right.
That was the only reason.
Wow.
Other than that, that man would have been buried without it. He would have actually been buried with a German flag over it. Okay, because whether you know this or not, he actually came to the United States at the end of World War II.
Yeah,
he was one of the 70,000. Okay, they say that they brought 6,000 to 7,000 scientists over here at the end of the war. What they didn't tell you was that they brought 70,000. 70,000. You got to add a couple of zeros onto there, you know. And when you look at that and you say to yourself, my name, Jason, you know, when you look at that and you begin to understand where all of this goes and the path that this is leading us, you know, if I sat here and I told you that we have a base on Mars already, you would tell me I'm full of shit. But you want to know what I'm going to tell you? We already have a base on Mars.
That shit's crazy to think about. I don't know if that's true or not. That's
well, maybe you can't believe that, but here's something. We're spinning on a ball 1,700 miles an hour. Now, you believe that shit?
Hey, I don't know. Awesome. I don't doubt anything.
The Earth is flat. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh! Please don't even get me off on this subject.
I don't go into stuff that I can't. You know, I've never been to tell you if the Earth is round or flat. Don't know shit about that. Don't even want to have a conversation.
But that's where it comes in. That's where it comes in. That everything that you've been taught is a conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm.
Start looking at it on a theoretical level and start researching. And you will find that they have told us the whole time exactly what they're doing and what they've been doing and how advanced they are.
So wait a minute. Time out. Because we're going to wrap up here, but time out because this is a lot. Shit. What was in the envelope supposedly at the funeral?
They don't know everything.
Yeah, we don't know exactly, but by the reactions of most of them's faces, it was something like "You're next" or "You're busted." We got it. You know, we got the information. I've got some other stuff. I think I shared it all with you. If you go back and look at that stuff, you'll kind of see it. But it's unbelievable.
A former Secret Service agent, associated to Dan Bongino or whatever his name is, the Fox News guy, was purported as stating that that the notes that were inside there was an apology from George Sr. to all of them. And it basically stated, they know everything. I'm sorry. Signed, President George H.W. Bush. Now, the one reaction that should be paid attention to the most out of that would be Barack Obama's reaction. Mm-hmm. If you see and you look at his face when Michelle shows that card to him, he just looks up and you could tell there was resolve.
Well, and two, the shot of Jeb Bush.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
He turned white.
It's crazy.
On his heart.
Isn't he already white?
He turned.
I'm just asking. Isn't he already white?
Okay, so I got a question to ask everybody on here. I'm going to start with Hawk first, and then we're gonna end this show. Since this has been deep, I wanna lighten up a bit, and because I am real big into conspiracy. I don't know if you guys know that, but I'm very big into conspiracy. I love it. Just don't talk about it a lot because people would be like, "Oh, this guy, conspiracy theorist." All right, but Hawk, Earth, flat or round?
Please say square. Please say square.
I actually, I'm beginning to think that it is flat.
John,
No,
Earth, flat or round?
please.
Well, you know, I've never been in a spaceship. Everything, I mean, like I said, we got a mirror thing going on where you can believe either one.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever I want to know the truth, I look at the Bible. And I think that's the oldest documentation we have that's true. The Bible said, go to the four corners of the earth. To me,
that's big planet pillars, immovable, all of that. Gotcha. I get you. I'm picking up what you're laying down. Casey, Earth, flat or round?
Hands down, it's round.
Hands down, it's round. Sunni, Earth, flat or round?
It's round. It's round.
Cash, Earth, flat or round? Don't fucking know. But since NASA said it's round, I'm gonna say flat because I don't trust them.
I thought you were gonna say shit like it's a triangle.
No. If you go by Degrassi, Tyson DeGrasse, whatever his name is, the Earth is actually an oblique. It's like a pear shape. So there you go. The Earth's a pear. All right. But none of that shit actually helps to save us. That's why I don't get into the discussion. All I want to say is I appreciate everybody that came on here right now. You guys are dope as hell. All right, for real. And we have to do a part 2. Hawk, John, Sunni, Casey. We got to do a part 2 to this. I'm about to research my ass off. All right. I'm about to look into all of these things. I appreciate you guys. But before we get up off here, I just got to let you know, NASA is the Hebrew word for lie or deception. And also it has a forked tongue going through the symbol of NASA, which shows the serpent, which is the first liar. All right. So am I going to say that the Earth is round? I don't fucking know. I've never been to space, but I just was on a plane. And when I was on that plane, it looked pretty flat. That's all I'm going to say. Looked pretty flat. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but I will say this as well. If we were spinning on a ball at 1,000 miles plus at the equator, right?
Yeah.
I would think that they would feel that kind of shit. I know you're going to say gravity, but I mean, I don't know. Because gravity, they showed in a vacuum, it doesn't mean shit. Like a feather and a bowling ball can land at the exact same time. I don't know. I have a hard time believing that we're floating around in a big ass void of nothingness around a big ass ball of fire. Shit freaks me out a little bit. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Wait a second.
One last.
But what about fat bottom girls? You know, some had to pull it down there. Gravity had to pull it down there. You know.
I hope that everybody at home right now is cracking the fuck up, laughing, and not freaking out about all the information that was shared here. Whether the Earth is flat, who gives a shit? We're living on it, and we need to save ourselves. We need to save our country, save our planet, if it is a planet.
Oh my
Just
God,
kidding.
please.
Just kidding. I don't know. I watched Game of Thrones. Go over the ice wall. There's a whole bunch of White Walkers. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Oh, here's
I
one.
love you guys.
You're
For you,
racist.
Cash.
You're a racist.
Here's one for you. You know, believe it, like I said, I go back to the Bible. I believe I was created by God.
Me too.
Okay. You know, it's sad. There's a lot of people that think that they were microorganisms and they came from a worm.
Hey, shit, I don't know. I can say this: that people get hung up on evolution. I believe in both. I believe in science and creationism. It's like hand in hand. And you can see evolution rapidly when you see a sperm turn into, it hits an egg and then turns into 2 cells and 4 cells and 16, or you see a tadpole that actually turns into a frog, sprouts legs. So we see a form of rapid evolution. I don't get caught into all of that kind of stuff. Faith is faith, and the person is okay. Whatever they believe is up to them, as long as it doesn't harm me and my family or take from what we have. So whether or not the Earth is flat or evolution's real, my faith is in God. I put my faith in God, and I love where I live, whether we're floating around in space or we're on a flat ass plane fixed in with some Arctic walls like a fishbowl. Doesn't matter to me. All I know is I love where we are. I love this planet. I love the people that's on it, and I want it to be awesome. I want it to be great for everybody. So that being said, I thank you guys for being a part of this discussion. We got to do it again. So I hope you guys are game to do this again, and I want to dig even deeper. I want to go even deeper, and it's going to be dope. This is going to be dope. Since we're on conspiracy, look up the Anunnaki. What else is out there? Look up the Dead Sea Scrolls. Read the Book of Enoch.
The Book of Enoch is amazing.
Yes,
amazing.
Like we never went to the moon.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who fucking knows? This is the problem that I got with that before we leave. The problem that I got with the whole moon landing thing is they say that we went to the moon before, but we can't go back now. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense to me. All right. So
have you ever noticed that the moon doesn't turn?
Doesn't rotate. It rotates perfectly to where we can't see it.
Yep. There's always the same dark side of the moon.
Here, let me not bullshit you guys. Let me just go ahead and say this. I don't know what the shape of the earth is, but I swear to God, I don't believe that it is round and floating in space. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. It doesn't make fucking sense to me. None of it makes sense to me. None of it. I don't believe in this fucking big ass universe shit that there's a whole bunch of other planets that could harbor life and fuck.
See, now that's where I kind of got to back you up a little bit because my grandmother, I said to my grandmother, when I was a kid, are there aliens? And my grandmother my grandmother said this. She said there are definitely demons. She said, but who are we as humans, even though we are made in the image of our creator? Who are we to believe that he didn't have other projects going on?
Because he didn't say it.
He actually did. He created the angels, and they fell from heaven. And who knows if an angel is synonymous, or a fallen angel is synonymous with alien?
I think a fallen angel is a demon. If we're gonna,
exactly.
When they talk about it in the Bible, they refer to lights in the sky. So you could actually be right.
Could be.
Because a demon can appear as a spiritual image. Can take on the shape of of Moses or Elijah, or those are things that we have to think about. But when my grandmother said that to me, it made me think for a minute, that, well, he kind of hasn't been busy for the last couple of 1,000 years. Who are we to think that he would not have created another world?
I don't know. All I know is that we're special. God chose us to be his prized possession. And if there is any other life forms out there, they aren't here to help us. They're probably very jealous and want to fuck us up. And that's just my thoughts on it. I like to feel that way. It gives me comfort, which is what matters. The comfort of each other. All right.
Amen.
So, that being said, God bless you guys. Thank you for tuning in. This is an awesome comment right here. I had a friend that his brother worked at NASA when they were doing the moon landings. He said, we never went to the moon. It was all staged. He wanted his brother to know that before he died. And I believe it. Believe it. Is this a regular show? Love this. This is a regular gathering from now on. This is nice. I love it. Bring your tinfoil hat next time, guys. We're going to get deep. It's going to get weird. That being said.
Yeah, and don't kick the IT guy out, because I'm going to learn something from him.
All day long.
I'm going to learn something from him. I'm serious. I'm going to learn something from this guy. It's I've never jumped in on the technology side of things. I'm a pot farmer. It's I'm not kidding. That's what I do. My business is UCAN2 Educational Nursery. I have medical people who come here, or medical patients from all around the world who come out to my farm. They stay here. They learn how to grow. They learn about the strains that can help their conditions, so that they can take that home with them and be able to provide for their own household. when I got parents coming out here to learn how to grow Lucy's Lion or Charlotte's Web for their child that has seizures and stuff like that, you know, there is no greater feeling and there is no greater appreciation for the things that are available to us on this planet in order to heal, you know, and to provide for our families. So, you know, you can take it any way you want, but, you know, it's the idea that, you know, for 75 years, our government has lied to us about cannabis and what its effect and what it can do for us, you know, and it took a child to change the mind of Americans. Okay. Now you think about the child trafficking going on. It's going to be that first child who is trafficked that is shown to the public that is going to wake up everybody about that. And that's got to be another show.
Yo, I was just about to say, Hawk, we're going to talk. I'm about to end this show right now. You guys don't go nowhere. I want to talk to you guys in the back. All right.
Right on.
Okay. So we're about to get up off here. Unite, don't fight, be a street light, because only you can be the change that you want to see in the world. And when you get too stressed out, you got to remember to pray, America, because without God, it all falls apart. And one last thing before I go. The earth is flat. You heard it here first. Peace.